Memorial Day. Happy day to those that passed away. I see pictures. My heart goes out for those who lost someone. I did too. However, I'm here to talk to you about what does thank you for your service mean. So thank you for your service. How many times will a veteran hear that statement? And if you are a vet, what does that mean to you? What are our countrymen actually thanking us for? My name is Erlene Donnelly, Specialist, as well as Petty Officer 3rd Class, Donnelly L. My service in my country started in my sophomore year of high school with JROTC. I followed there with the Navy in 94. I didn't get enough. I'm a glutton. I also went to the Army in 06. Unfortunately, due to our current hashtag leadership and my disabilities, that's what keeps me from serving today. I too am a service-connected disabled veteran suffering from chronic pain and PTSD. I know, I probably don't even look like my experience. At 42, I should. Thank you for your service means to me. Thank you for the time you spent away from your loved ones, missing birthdays and repasses to defend the land of the home of the land of the free and the home of the brave. Thank you for your service means to me. Thank you for putting yourself second to your countrymen. Thank you for your service means. Thank you for running toward chaos and mayhem and not away from it, so we all might be able to live the American dream. I would like to thank my country for its service by the support it's given to veterans that's lucky and blessed enough to return home after being discharged. I want to say thank you to our government for passing unbiased laws that benefit all Americans. I want to say thank you to our president for serving with honor, dignity, respect for the Constitution and the men and women who defend it. But I can't. I can't. When the laws are made for profit and money, opposed to country and people. I can't. When the NFL is forcing its opinions on players for exercising their constitutional right to kneel and sign in protest. I said I can't. When African Americans are being gunned down by the big things that sit here to protect them. I want to say thank you to my country people, but I can't. I cannot say thank you to my country when my commander-in-chief is a bully that supports power over peace, racism over equality, and thinks Twitter is a new platform to address the American people. I want to tell my country thank you, but I can't. I cannot. So, what I'm going to ask you, what do you mean when you tell a veteran, thank you for your service? If you really want to think of that for the service, start living the life that we have sacrificed so much for. How about loving thyself? Let's start there. Once you love yourself, try loving your countrymen. And if once you accomplish that goal, end it off by loving your country.
Amen.
I love my country. God knows I do. It's the government that scares the hell out of me. Thank you, one love, God bless you, and of course what? God bless America.
God bless you! That was some powerful stuff. Oh, God bless her. That's so sad.
Music!
She knows the problem.
Ooh, some musical entertainment.
Yeah. Somebody's been hurting my brother. It's been going on far too long. You guys know that one, right? Somebody's hurt my brother, and it's gone on
Far too long.
Tell you it's gone on
Far too long.
Tell you it's gone on
Far too long. I probably shouldn't sing. I can't sing.
It's gone on far too long, and we won't be silent anymore. Somebody's hurt my sister, and it's gone on far too long. No, it's gone on far too long. Tell you it's gone on far too long. Somebody hurt my sister, and it's gone on far too long. And we
Look at how many people came out today.
silent anymore.
God bless them all. love being a part of it.
Somebody's hurting our people, and it's going on for so long, and we won't be silent anymore. Somebody's hurting our children, and it's gone on far too long. Tell you it's gone on far too long. Tell you it's gone on far too long. Somebody's hurting our children, and it's gone on far too long, and we won't be silent anymore. And we won't be silent
Anymore.
All together!
One step back.
All together!
Now one step back.
Bud's too long.
We know all of them, man.
Bud's too long. Bud's too long.
He's so tall, I love it.
One more time.
Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to live. Before this campaign fails, we'll all go down to jail. Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to dream.
To dream.
Everybody's got a right to dream. Before this campaign fails, we'll all go down to jail. Everybody's got a right to dream. Everybody's got a right to love. Everybody's got a right to love. And before this campaign fails, we'll all go down to jail. Everybody's got a right to love. Everybody's got a right to learn. Everybody's got a right to learn. Before this campaign fails, we'll all go down to jail. 'Cause everybody's got a right to learn. Everybody's got a right. Everybody's got a right to learn. Everybody got a right to live. Everybody got a right to dream. Everybody's got a right to love. Everybody's got a right to love. Everybody's got a right to dream. Everybody's got a right to love. I said, everybody's got a right to love. Everybody's got a right to love. Everybody's got a right to love. We'll all go down to jail. Everybody's got a right to live.
I love that guy. He's so cool. I love the flag.
Hello.
Veterans for
Hi. My name is Willie Mack. My name is Willie Mack.
It's beautiful.
My name is Commander.
Louder.
He's down. Let's get a prayer with him. Yeah, sound off. There you go.
Had to push the button. All right. Willie Mack, financial planner, U.S. veteran. We are here to honor our fallen. And one of the previous speakers really corrected me. Not fallen, but those who were killed. The veterans fought to make America free. We are here to make America fair. And we also, what we say, is rooted in the preamble to the Constitution of the United States. Let me exemplify. We too are here to establish justice and a common defense. But we also here to promote the general welfare By that we mean the well-being, the protection for vets and their families. We too are here to ensure domestic tranquility. By that we mean peace at home. To secure the blessings of liberty, we mean safety in the home, in the school, and in the place of worship. The authorities tell us that it is in our national interest to send our military personnel to Afghanistan, Iraq, and Syria. We are supposed to believe that the United States and 59 other countries need 20 years to defeat a single non-state. Meanwhile, the Syrian dictator depopulates half of his country.
That's some
with
bull
impunity.
duty.
As a result, we have our veterans who died last year, and the only report we get from the Department of Defense is that of death. While here at home, we are against the illegal acquisition of guns. We are against the illegal carrying of guns. We are against the firing of guns, the illegal firing of guns. But we're supposed to believe that our representatives in Congress and here in the General Assembly just can ignore us and obey the Repressed Weapons Association. As a result, in Chicago, we had 667 homicides last year. Nationwide, 96 deaths a day related to gunfire. 1 school shooting per week.
Oh my God.
13,000 homicides a year.
That ain't right.
It ain't right.
Jesus.
Someone mentioned about the funding.
I know it's bad,
$700
but-
million for the Department of
Oh my
Defense.
God.
Fiscal year 2008. Now compare that to the Department
This
of
is
VA.
sad. This is so sad.
That's 3 times.
What the hell is wrong with you people?
That ain't right.
The Department of Education.
That ain't right.
10 times.
Ain't right.
And the program for safe schools and citizen education, listen to this. I want you to listen to this, please, because I had to look at it 3 or 4 times, use my calculator because I didn't trust myself. The Department of Defense budget is 3,605 times that of the safe schools and citizen education.
That ain't right.
That ain't right. We are not fooled by their pretended honor for veterans 2 days out of the year, in November and May. And then 363 days they dishonor the veterans with privatization and the pollution of the health care.
That ain't right. That ain't right.
We are not fooled by their 1 day each for the mother, Mother's Day, 1 day each for the father, Father's Day, and then 363 days of dishonor where with this permissive lack of protection and lack of peace at home, and they don't even pretend to honor children, and yet they dishonor the children every day of the week because of these wayward bullets that shatter the home, that shatter the churches, that shatter the schools. Come on now.
That ain't right. That ain't right.
We are not here for comfort. We're not here for quiet. We are here to honor our veterans by telling the truth and about how they mistreat the veterans and how they mistreat the families of the veterans.
That is right. That is right.
You're sad. You're sad people. Grow up.
Good afternoon, how y'all doing? I just want to start out by saying we do have water on the cart over this way, so if you do feel warm, please grab some water. My name is Natasha Erskine. I'm an Air Force veteran. I retired in 2016 after 20 years. I'm also a 100% service-connected disabled veteran. I did not amass those, I'll call them pre-existing conditions, until about my 15th, 16th year. And when that happened, so I had some medical issues that started to come on, despite the fact that I was a master sergeant
training for half marathons whenever I could find one in my area. Despite the fact that I was one of the best that could do my job, I was brought in from across the country to do a specific position at the Air Force Special Operations Command. When I got there, I was like, wow, there are like no black women. That ain't right. And so day 3, I told folks it felt like the Twilight Zone, that this just wasn't the place for me. About a year later, they proved why. Despite being the best person at my job, despite being the person who briefed the 3-star that could actually tell him where his Osprey fleet can go and the types of clearances that I had already made sure happened, right? So I was in a critical position where the 3-star general relied on my work, but it did not matter because once my health began to fail, I was ostracized, I was retaliated against, I was pushed into a corner, and all of those things, my military record, being as strong as it was, wasn't able to pad the situation for me. So what I'm trying to tell you is that I have participated in a lot of actions and campaigns that I then had to sit back and question that when I needed my family, my Air Force family the most, they turned their backs on me.
That ain't right.
And because I was one of the only black women in the unit, I had no one to talk to. I had no one that understood. I had all of these folks that were willing to send me paper planes from the balcony to tell me what I should do, but none of them that would stand the line and take up for me. And I can tell you that nothing broke my heart more than my unit turning their back on me than some of the people who were in positions that could have done something. So for the people who are on active duty and who are still watching, either benefiting or participating in institutional discrimination, bias, that is actually hurting and harming people. And when I tell you hurting and harming people, there's nothing like learning that the right thing is not going to be done or supported by people who should keep their integrity.
That ain't right.
So to go through that, I can tell you that the mental health that I had when I got to Air Force Special Operations Command, essentially, categorically, I struggled. I struggled because bias and racism is violent. Have you ever been in a space where you felt discriminated against but you can remove yourself? Try being there for 4.5 years. It was non-stop. No matter what I did, no matter how I tried to appease, no matter how I tried to say, look, I'll figure this out, just let me get the health situation that I needed, it didn't matter. And I'll end by saying, actually sharing an experience with someone when I was getting ready to leave, when I was getting ready to retire. His question to me was, Sergeant Erskine, what is it that we could have done for you? Or excuse me, what is it that you wanted? And I said, I actually didn't want anything but to be treated fairly. And for those behind me that are coming, I'm asking you to do the same for them. Racism in the military is the only place that I think that it can exist without being held accountable. Right? So the harm that is happening to my sisters and brothers on active duty right now, black and brown, I can tell you that it's also how they use these situations, these very small situations, to take away our benefits. So when you see people, and folks are judging them on what their discharge is, right? I fought for my honorable, but there are some folks that didn't have that benefit. I had my military record to fall back on. And I am telling you that when you see a lot of these situations, and particularly Miguel Perez, right? We know that this young man probably went through the same type of institutional racism that they then said his service was only a general. Well, it's probably, you need to back that stuff up. And then you realize that it was because of the institutional racism that ultimately may have contributed to his deportation.
That ain't right.
And what I'm saying is that if we don't continue to talk about these things, if we don't continue to talk about the unchecked racism that is literally killing people, harming people, I mean, it's like a big conflict when you have patriotism, but then the racism. I'm supposed to give my first class blood for folks that won't spit on me. That ain't right. That ain't right. So what I really want to just lift up is that for those that are on active duty, that are in the positions of power to make things different for folks, please do. For the veterans who participated or benefited from white supremacy, institutional discrimination, and bias when you are on active duty, stand up and talk about that. Yeah. Because it matters some for me too, but we need you all to talk about it, right? And I appreciate it. And one more thing that I wanted to say before I go, am I passing? One more thing that I really wanted to say is that it is critically important for those who can stand together, band together to do that. A lot of times I realized that folks were just scared to tell me, they were like, man, I can't believe that happened to you. If it happened to you, I don't know what it would be like for me. It wouldn't have been as hard, and like folks say, the whistleblowers, it wouldn't be as hard if you feel like you're isolated. So what we need are for people to actually band together. So when I filed my congressional complaint, 10 other people should have filed theirs with me. But because people are afraid, and I find that the same way with Colin Kaepernick, right? A lot of people want to do something, they don't know how to do it. And my point is that sometimes I just need you on the line. That's a critically important thing that I do not want you all to forget. Peace out.
In other words, never stop fighting for what's right, or they win.
Good afternoon, everyone. Before I start my speech, I want to let you know
I'm gonna do another recording.
that this was my daughter. She died in Kuwait, and this.